Did I do that?
You let it run the whole 30 seconds?
Oh, I did. I'm like trying to.
That was really good. I mean, that was like really smooth.
There's so many things going on at once right now that I'm like, am I doing it? Is it
Were
working?
you still trying to get the animation to stop?
Yeah.
What were you doing? What were you doing for that? What were you
ready?
doing for that 30 seconds? And it
Oh,
stops.
and
There
it
it is.
stopped.
Well
Boom.
done.
I got that done. Boom. Now, also, what's good to know? Let's see. Hold on. Like, are we okay? Cool. We are live on Facebook right now, so there's that.
Okay.
So we're live on the Facebook, and then the
So the over 60 crowd is watching.
previously on MySpace crowd, but figured out Facebook was way cooler
after it was up for 15 years.
Yeah. That's
all the kids are on the Facebook. I should get on the Facebook so I can see their pictures. And then they had already transitioned to Instagram. And so now all of us 35 to 45-year-olds, 50-year-olds are on Instagram.
Oh, there we go. Go live.
But all the kids are actually on TikTok.
Right. You got it, dude.
And YouTube Shorts.
And YouTube. Okay, there we go. Cool. There we are. We're live on the Instagram.
On the Instagram as well.
Look at that. We are social media moguls. Look, and Johnson Law LLC joined. Hi, Johnson Law LLC. Thanks for joining.
Who's that?
I have no idea.
You're getting random bots, man. You're crushing it. There you go.
Crushing it. Cool.
So we got to like up the game today then, yeah?
Yeah. This episode brought to you by the chocolate caramel element.
Yeah, I did. I went back to chocolate caramel for my second round this morning. I just did regular chocolate sea salt this morning.
Oh, nice.
For pre-class class. But now I have I didn't feel like making a whole pod or doing an espresso. So I use 2 Starbucks instant coffees. I use the I think the Colombian roast. So 2 packets of that, 1 packet of chocolate caramel chocolate sea salt element, a half a tablespoon of coconut oil and a half a tablespoon of butter. And I put it in I fill this up with hot water, close it, shake it.
Is that how you shake
for our non-visual listeners? I did a little who is the cha-cha-cha from like the 70s and 80s? Who was that? You know what I'm talking about? Like
I can picture exactly what you're talking about. But out of context, I have no clue.
But you know what I'm talking like cha-cha-cha. Yeah. I cha-cha-cha it, and then this is pretty good.
Nice. Hey, FYI, we got Dat and Daphne watching right now. See, the Instagram Live was a good call.
Well, that was your call, not mine.
It's a good call.
Well done, sir. Well done.
You make me want to be better.
Oh, well, that's a nice compliment. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You make me wish I wore hats backwards better. You seriously, dude, you make the hat backwards thing work. You're like,
really?
Did you ever watch Gilmore Girls?
Yes. But I also I didn't turn away.
It's so good. I mean, like I would never pick that. And then it's on, and I'm like, oh, how are Rory and Lorelai doing? Let me watch. But you pull off the backwards hat as well as Luke does.
Oh, Luke, yeah.
So Nicole bought herself. She has a Luke's Diner shirt coming.
That's awesome.
I was like, that's awesome. I'll tell you, it holds up. It's cheeky. It's like sweet. It's simple. You know, they don't cover too much, but like they cover some issues, like the mom.
Yeah.
You know, the grandmom. I forget Emily. Lorelai's mom, the grandmother. Like her and Lorelai's relationship. Like they do some stuff that you're like, huh, that was an interesting. Like it's good writing. It's enjoyable.
I remember the first time I watched it. they were so quick, like the back and forth.
Yeah, it's a little
Dialogue's so
artificial.
quick,
Nobody
and
talks. Yeah, nobody talks like that.
it's the first time I watched, I was like, this is a lot, and then but you get used to it quick, and it's just
Mhm.
become. And I think that's one of the things that caught. Like, if that wasn't how the dialogue was spoken in that show, is it as much of a hit?
Interesting, right? Yeah,
'Cause
I
everyone
will
was so
say,
quick.
there are people from New England and Connecticut that do talk like that.
Yeah,
So they do capture some regionality of like not letting each other finish. I mean, that's my family. I talk over people. Like,
yeah.
so it's yeah, there are some. Either way, super enjoyable. You make the hat work. That was where I was going with it. You're as cool as Luke. You could own a diner. I would come and eat there. And
I
yeah.
just don't think I can be as grumpy as Luke all the time.
I don't know if he's grumpy. It's just
He's no nonsense.
yeah.
But then when he sometimes there's a little nonsense, and you're like, oh, there's that sweet nonsense, Luke. I'll tell you, that show, the thing that threw me, I think the thing that got me hooked on that show was when when they were in a band, there was a band, and Sebastian Bach was the lead singer. So he
Is
was
that who that is?
yeah, lead singer of Skid Row. That's who that is. That's
Or-
Sebastian Bach.
Or the great grandmother had rented her house in Hartford out to Corn.
That's right.
Right? Like there's so many like little references. You're like, that's really funny writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't know that was Sebastian Bach.
Yeah.
God, what's his name? They're in it right now. They're taught like they're dumb. They're kind of him and the other guy are really
Yeah.
kind of dumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
he
yeah,
is a
he's
really
like-
good singer. They did some stupid like they were singing like hymns because they're still hiding that the one guy and the one girl, Lane and Dave or something are dating. And so
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, anyway, I catch it. Like you said, it's on. Nicole probably is like 3 to 4 episodes at a pop. And then like, I'll sit down and be like, oh, you're watching it. And I'll catch an episode like every 3 or 4. So I'm checking in with the folks, but like I'm missing a lot of the intermediate details, but it's so good. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You just pick it up wherever, and you'll
That's right.
probably sit down
Like,
and continue to watch it.
Consistency is not a requirement for
Yeah.
enjoyment.
Yeah, I think he just lost track of what school Rory was at, and that was about
Yeah.
it.
Which,
So-
by the way, yeah, I couldn't remember. Did she go to Yale or Harvard? That's our
I think she
debate.
I think didn't she originally go to Harvard and then go to Yale?
Oh, and then she changed. Oh, why not? Right? Get
'Cause
the
wasn't
best
her-
of do both.
Yeah, I forget because where did her grandfather?
Harvard's
go?
her dream. That's where she wants to go. But then,
Yeah.
like, she visits it because the grandfather,
Her
hijacks
grandfather
them.
was a Yale guy, wasn't he? Wasn't
Yep,
he a
they
Yale?
hijacks him for a school visit and
Yeah.
gets her in with the dean of admissions and blah
Yeah.
blah blah, and everyone's pissed, but like she kind of secretly likes it. And
Spoiler alert, everybody!
yeah.
Because you hit.
This is like season 3, 4 we're talking
Yeah.
about. So if you haven't watched, look, not my problem. It's been out for 20 years.
Yeah.
They've done a reunion show for God's sakes.
Oh, they have. That's right. That's right.
Anyway, enough Gilmore Girls. You got
Yeah.
great looking hat action going, brother. Keep it up.
Well, you make me want to again. You make me want to do better. But again, that's why I liked when you talked about the element and you got the chocolate caramel and the coffee and then just a little bit of cream and it holds you over for the morning and it's like I was like, cool, I got it. So it came yesterday and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do my coffee today. Meg made it for me, but we used our Nespresso coffee
Yeah.
and then 2 tablespoons of heavy cream and the element chocolate caramel 2 tablespoons. Is that what you said?
So I think when I did it, I did 2 tablespoons.
Yeah.
I'm off the heavy cream though. So like I always have to do this for myself. Like within a week, instant
The dairy.
histamine response.
Yeah.
Like me and dairy is just
Yeah.
it's the same thing. I'm like, I can totally eat cheese. I'm fine. 3-4 days into it.
Yeah.
Oh, there must be something in the air. It's so like I stopped
I didn't know I was allergic to the world.
I stopped eating cheese for like 24 hours, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess all the dust cleared.
I'm willing to bet I would have that same reaction if I don't. So I may. But we
Yeah.
have heavy cream, so I'm roll with it. But but I might
So
try.
the
it. But I think I
coconut,
also have some.
the coconut oil and
Yeah.
butter does not because it's primarily fat.
Right.
And we do carry gold butter, so I think it's whatever. But like, yeah, if I go more than a day or two eating cheese, drinking any sort of milk or dairy or cream, which heavy cream, it should just be the fat. Like it's just the fat, but there's something else in there. And I got good
Right.
one. I got the whatever that brand is that's grass fed, organic, blah blah blah. But still, within within a week, I did it like 3 or 4 days in a row, and I was like, "This is amazing! How has no one ever told me about this?" I'm like, "Oh right, I
Right.
tried this 2 years ago, and the same thing happened. Maybe I should
Yeah.
write this stuff down."
Probably should. Now, fun fact: the milk that we get is all raw. It's raw milk,
Yeah,
which it's funny. Like we have a farm share that we pick milk up from every week, and then but whenever we go to the farmers market on Riva, it's that one right there. He has the milk that says it's raw milk for cats and for cats and dogs or something like that.
right, right.
Because you can't
It's not. It's
legally.
illegal. It's illegal for human consumption.
Yes.
Yes.
So
So
we
you
have a
guys
lot of
don't drink it. You're just giving it to the neighborhood cats, right?
yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
Because I can't condone the illegal activity, just like in Schitt's Creek when they're trying to transport the raw milk and they get pulled over the cops. He makes them pour it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Just gotta say it's for cats and dogs, guys.
Cats and dogs for cats
Cats
and
and
dogs.
dogs. So, oh man.
Meow.
Did you have,
Meow.
did
You
you
just
have-
have to meow a couple times and you're a cat.
there you go. I'll meow, right meow. Right meow.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have a good New Year's, Jack? Did you
I
say
did.
it right?
I did meow.
You stopped that right meow.
Yeah, John and Shelley came over. It was fun. We hung out. It was about 9:30, 9:45. Kind of at a dinner. It was fun. We just hung out and talked. We're sitting around the table. We're just kind of, Shelley had made these cookies, awesome oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, which
Whew, that was close.
Shelley told us about every 10 minutes. She overbaked them about 2 to 3 minutes. About too much, 2 to 3 months, too much. They were a little hard, but it didn't matter. They were actually super they were perfect for
Ooh.
dunking in your. So they had that extra little crunch. They would have
So
been
that when you dip,
perfect.
it doesn't fall apart. When you
You
dip
got it. So
Yeah,
I was
see?
like, she's on to something like that. She cracked the secret, a penicillin discovery. That little extra baking makes them almost like a biscotti that you could have dunked them. So I did. I've dunked them in. They're gone now, of course,
Yeah.
because the boys got a hold of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was like 9:48, maybe we'll say. And it was a little lull in the conversation. And all four of us were like, all right, well, that was fun. We'll see ya. We were asleep by 10:15.
Nice. Nice. That's
It
how
was
the
it was perfect. We all it was just instinctively, everybody was like, that was enough.
it was
Bye.
funny. I saw this poll. It was this poll on YouTube, and it was and I think over 10,000 people answered, but it's what are your plans for New Year's? Go out. It was go out, go to a friend's party, travel, and then one of them was asleep before 10 p.m. Almost 70% was asleep before 10 p.m. out of 10,000 people. I was yeah.
It seems like such a silly holiday. We've all done the party part of it. It's fun. I get it. I think the artificiality of having to stay awake makes the staying awake so much harder.
Yeah.
If it was just a natural, oh, it's a normal, Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday night. And then next thing you know, it's 2:00 in the morning. You're like, that was really fun. All right, well, anyway, whatever. Everyone's yuck because somebody's yum. It's fine. It's a fine holiday, I guess. It's as fine as any other holiday that they're all made up. So, right? Sure. All right, cool. Yeah.
I think it was when I told Lauren Gilligan, when I told her that we were closed on New Year's Day, she's like, what? How am I supposed to get my first workout of the year in? I was like, oh man, go around 5K. And I think she went out and ran.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, she did it with I read in Sugar Watch. She did it with her stroller and
she did it awesome.
She did the 800-meter run and the right. It was the snatches and something else. I forget. Yeah.
Was it squat cleans? I forget. Yeah.
Squat cleans, right? Squat cleans and something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she still got it done. So she was fine. But yeah, it was just one of those it's a day off. I think it's I don't know. Like I said, I think I posted something. It was Pete Holmes, and he was kind of talking about New Year's, and he's he thinks it's such a BS holiday. He goes, why are we so hung up on this one day? He goes, hey, remember when it was this day this exact time a year ago. Like, remember when it was this exact time a year ago? That's huge. And it was just, it's like, yeah, it's true. We just picked this day as the end. And I think I like it because I think if anything, I like it because it extends the holidays a little bit, right? Like, I feel like Christmas comes and goes in a flash. And I like, and especially now with like the kids too, it's just so busy. Like, it's Christmas Day and then it's gone. I feel like New Year's kind of anything is a huge reason to kind of extend the holidays just a few more days and kind of like stretch it out. I like Christmas music. I keep the tree up.
You've got winter. You've got a winterscape here on our background.
Yeah, like I like the holidays. So if anything, I like that. So, what I see too, like New Year's resolutions again. What's a New Year's resolutions again? What's a New Year's resolution again? It's like, yeah, it's a to-do list for the first week of January.
It's like, a bunch of shit you ain't gonna do.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's something written somewhere that will show up someplace that describes the illusory power of it based on the grammatical construction of the language that we use in the creation of those resolutions, that you're setting yourself up for failure simply by the language that you use. But I don't know if somebody
he took the words right out of my mouth, Jack.
Yeah. Perhaps somebody wrote something somewhere that you're going to post in a document that you're going to send out to your community. Our community, the community.
Sunday. Which reminds me, I should send something out to remind people to, like, if they're not subscribed to the newsletter, MailChimp newsletter, they should subscribe. I think I can put that on Sugar Watch. Because there were a couple people that, like, they didn't get the party invite. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I was like, oh, you know what? Because I need to update them in MailChimp. That's why. Anyway. That's neither here nor
monkeys
there.
Are funny.
Monkeys
Can we talk about monkeys? Monkeys are funny.
Well, funny. I thought this would be fun. Again, we got plenty of time. So I put out the homework for the coaches this week about just kind of like what makes an ideal class.
Oh.
And that's also like that goes in line with like this is the for the Affiliate U coaches development course. Like they start, it's week 1 of the 26-week course, and that's the first one. Like, and so the homework was actually on Affiliate U was like list out 10 things that sorry, this is my transition into like, I'm curious, like let's chat about it.
I got it.
Yeah. Like here's 10. Thank you for keeping up with my brain.
Yeah. That wasn't, I will offer to, I mean, if we're taking a break from this little meta, that was an excellent transition, by the way. I'm not sure why you felt like that was,
I felt like I literally, so like we were talking about coffee, Gilmore Girls, and cookies, and now it's like,
no, you had transitioned us into New Year's, and then you had transitioned us into things that change, and then it was sort of, dude, it was beautiful.
Okay, cool.
Trust yourself. You got good instincts. Roll with it.
But
now it's ruined.
Yeah, now it's a little.
Just kidding.
I'm going back to bed.
You're awesome. All
right.
right.
Anyway, it was cool, but yeah. So the homework in that coaching development is, list out 10 things that you think are important to run run a great class, like run the perfect class or a great class or an effective class, and using kind of 3 guidelines of like, are you? Hold on. So like, A, is it fun? Like, is your class fun? At the end of the day, from start to finish, did everyone have a really good time? Another element too is like great coaching. Like, was your coaching on point from A to B, from progressions and your cueing and all those those 6 criteria of a good coach? Like, did you follow those? And then were you prepared? Did you have a class plan? Did you have stuff laid out? That sort of thing. So using great coaching, being prepared, and fun, kind of using those 3 categories. 10 things that you think make for the ideal class. And then take of those 10, once you write down the 10 that you think, what are the 3 that you think you need to like really hone in on? And then a few months, see if you really got better at it. And it was cool. So I was on a call with Denise Thomas last night.
You got to talk to Denise Thomas?
with Denise Thomas.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Can I just tell you guys?
How's she doing? Did she say? Did she mention me? Did she ask how I was
She
doing?
didn't mention you.
Oh,
She didn't. But what was awesome is I haven't been on a call with her in a few weeks.
were you on a call just you with her?
No, it wasn't just me. There was some other, nobodies there. But
I will say Denise Thomas is top five of my CrossFit personality. Like,
she's so awesome.
Love her. Like, absolutely. I think there is just if she were to say like, hey, I'm doing something new, I'm taking it over here, I'm going to call it Denise Fit. You in? Yes, I'm in.
100% in.
Here's my $1,000. I'm in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, so anyway, super jealous. Clearly,
No,
super jealous.
And what was great too, so like I hadn't seen her in a few weeks, and the first thing she says is like, Eric, your hair's getting longer. It's so smooth and shiny and beautiful.
Oh
like,
my god!
you like complimented,
right?
and I
She's
hear
like,
Meg, like she's in the other room, and Meg goes, "Oh my
Oh.
god, she just made your day, didn't she?"
And I mean, right? Like, it's such a crush of like, but I know she's married. Her and her wife have their own, right? Like, they have their own. Like, there is nothing like, I don't know, like just to be like, there's nothing like sexual about it, but there is, but there isn't. It's
It
like,
makes you feel good. She makes you
yeah,
feel
she's
good, right?
just so good at like everything I want to be good at. And it seems like she does it just so seamlessly and like artfully. And like, I mean, I remember watching her at the level 2 jump in with a workout. And she was like, I'm nursing a weird shoulder and a hip, blah, blah, blah. I mean, and she played like top end international soccer for the Irish national team. Like, you know what? Like she's an elite athlete, but she's also, she's probably in her 40s now. I think even then she may have been like early 40s. So she was like, and she beat Austin because she watched Austin and she was like, he's going to go out way too hard and he's going to be a dum-dum. And I'm just going to hang back. And she ended up beating him. Like she scaled it appropriately and stuff. And this is in the lunchtime workout in the level 2. And I was just like, she's so cool. Finishes, quickly changes her shirt, comes over and is like, okay, let's do I don't forget which one it was, the like class management or programming. She ran those boys like they were her freaking minions, right? Like in Austin, I think was officially maybe the flow master for the level 2. DT, man, she was the boss. Capital B, boss. Awesome. Anyway, that's I love. So jealous. Anyway, you actually were having a phone call with her.
Well, it's funny. Meg said, she goes, oh, you got a crush on her or something?
Yes.
I was like, well, babe. I was like, she's a lesbian and she's an Eagles fan, so I don't think it would work.
That might have been the other time. I forgot she was an Eagles fan.
But I said she's a lesbian and an Eagles fan, so I don't think it's going to work. Also, she's not you.
Oh, well played. Well played.
I
have a CrossFit crush on her. Like, and it's the same like with Miranda. Miranda's in that top 5.
You met her, right? Have you met Miranda?
Yeah, she was actually my level 1. She was on level 1.
Cool.
I'm gonna take these headphones out. I'm trying to multitask and do some bread.
Oh, is that beeping you?
It's my oven, yeah. So
okay.
I'm gonna talk.
I could hear that. I was like,
setting this up.
I thought one of the kids' toys was in here, and I was like, what is that noise I keep hearing? So, but it was so it was awesome. So the call was basically like, it was people. There were people on that call, and it was early in the week, and so some people had submitted like, what are their 10, and then she was just kind of breaking them down even more and kind of talking about like what it makes sense to have this and have that, and why certain things are so important. Why some might be more important than others. But really, at the end of the day, it's all these things they need to come together to make this, at the end of the day, what's a really great experience. And I thought about, she kept saying that too, like what makes a great experience. And I even think about that too, like not just what makes a great class, what makes a great experience. And I was thinking about that going back to my Under Armour days. Yes, the point was like when people come in, try to get them to buy this and that and try to get them excited, get them to walk out of there spending as much money they possibly can. But at the end of the day, like you need to make it so that whether they bought something or they didn't, they have to come back. And it's And
Because
so
they had so much fun, they want to come back.
yeah, like they want to come back, and they feel like they have to come back, and they want to come back, and they're missing out if they don't come back.
Yep.
And so, like I said, great coaching. Like, you can put a great coach on the floor, someone who knows every progression, every fault, every cue, every fix, every point of performance. But if they're a robot up there just going through the motions, a lot of people will not be coming back to that. Some people are into it. Some people are into the robots.
I like
But
robots.
Right?
Like, I like robots.
I like robots as long as they don't become self-aware.
Right. As long as they're not taking over the world.
And but yeah, so it's like cool. Like, you can put up there, like, yeah, great coaching is number one. Awesome. Like, great coaching is number one. But then where was what did she say? Yeah, just that athlete connection. So, like, if you're not connecting with that person, like, that time to, what'd you say, part of, like, having that time and space to interact with your athletes, like, yeah, you can coach them and run them through this. So anyway, I kind of just started writing down. I had 10, but I actually have like way more. And but I thought it'd be fun. Like, we could chat a little bit about like what we think. And if anything, this just helps me prep for the staff meeting on Saturday. So, but how about you and I could go back and forth, like, hey, what sounds like it's important to us as these things, and maybe we could talk about too, like, what are 1, 2, or 3 that we think we could be better at.
Yeah,
So,
totally. Believe me, after my I was sweating. It was funny. I apologized in today's nerding out for this is a 5:15, 6:15 class.
Nice.
But in that apology,
Bridget was like, "What were you apologizing for?" So I always have to remember, like what I often think is like, "Oh my God, I know," and I explained it to her. 5 seconds or less, 10 seconds. I jokingly was like, "I just need to expect less of y'all." And she laughed, but I was like, "I'm totally kidding." Like, but in a sense, I'm not kidding. But it's not a matter of like, it's more of I'm imposing my expectations on a set of individuals as if those individuals owe me some sort of specific particular behavior, instead of remembering, no. The expectation is be of service and then listen, both visually, audibly, emotionally, like listen and see where they're at, and then and then attempt to have the service meet them where they're at in order to get to the shared goal of improved fitness, improved work capacity across broad modal and time domains, right? But like me saying like, no, you need to do it this way. You need to respond. Right? Like, that's me expecting, but I really imposing artificially and inappropriately my expectations on a set of individuals who I have no idea where they're coming from. I don't know how they're feeling. I don't know if they got 3 hours of sleep last night and just showing up was the win. And so I wrote down quickly, as you were saying, because I didn't do my homework because I knew I was going to be missing class because I'm leaving right after teaching or right after coaching class on Saturday. So thank you for letting me do my homework.
Well, it's good. I told Mary's not gonna be there too. I told her she still has homework too. So I just got to.
But I get to do. You're letting me do my homework right now, which I love.
Yeah, right. Open book.
I love it.
It's an open book test.
I think the teach see correct. I'm good to, right? I say I'm good to go. Like, I've got that one relatively down. Where as long as I'm not in automation mode, like I can teach effectively. I can see 90% of the movement, and I have the requisite level of cue corrections that will get most people like good to go. Group management. I am finding that what I think of as group management might not actually be excellent group management if I want to maintain exactly what you just described, which is a excellence of experience for as broad of an audience as possible. My group management could use some introspection and of investment assessment, like inspection and assessment of myself, because I think it influences the presence and attitude part that makes it feel very much like. So I was jokingly, and then with Claire at 6:15. That's 2 times I've mentioned specific people. Sorry to both of you, Claire and Bridget, but I appreciate it. It really is just a compliment. Like I really appreciate their feedback of like jokingly like things of like it's very helpful. Their responses and engagement with me as the coach is every single time helpful.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I feel like they express like I feel like I'm being a trouble child or over, and the complete opposite is true.
They're probably saying the thing that other people are thinking, but they're going to say
100%. They're willing to
something
say
that I
it.
probably needed to hear.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely love it. So very helpful.
Yeah.
But I was jokingly like I told them at one point in the warm up to get down on their bellies, hands out at a T, and do scorpions. But I think what I said was, lay down on your belly, hands out at the side, and then I got distracted. I looked over. Everyone's on their back and like looking like they're about to like roll around. And I'm like, what the? And it had reached a crescendo of like I had lost them. I lost the bubble. It was like a cacophony of it had happened. Like it happened at multiple times in 5:15. Where I was just like, what the fuck? Am I just screaming into an abyss? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And it got so bad. Like I looked over at Ed because I'm like, am I an idiot? Like, am I missing something here? And he was just like, well, you know, and so I quickly recovered because I didn't lose my temper, but I clearly expressed frustration in my tone, which is completely inappropriate, unnecessary, right? We are not launching ships here. We're not taking a country, a military action.
Right.
Like we're doing freaking exercise, dude. Like take a breath. So recovered, jokingly moved on, got over it. Like the rest of the class went fine, no big deal.
Yeah.
And I asked Bridget this morning, she met or someone, I think it was Bridget this morning. I was like, she goes, actually, I heard you say like, lay down on your bellies. Like you did say it. Cause I said my heuristic is if I look and of a class of 10, like 1 or 2 people are doing it wrong, that ain't me. That's them. Not a big deal. Just go over and like individually correct the person, right? Like no big deal. But if I look out and 9 out of 10 people are doing it incorrectly, that ain't them. That's me, right? Like, yeah, totally. Like turn that finger around. So when Bridget offered like, no, I heard you say it. It's like, good point. But even though I had said it, how I had said it, in the sequence of what I had said, right? Like I had already hit them with so much.
Yeah.
Right. The rowing had been so much that what I think you should try to accomplish it so much, the stimulus so much, the strategy of getting this like right. Just word vomited all over them to where it's like, if I'm on the other end of that, I'm like, what the fuck do you want me to pay attention to? Like you just gave me 9 things to do. I can do one thing at a time. All right, dude, simmer the F down and just tell me the one thing you want me to do. So that when I'm now holding them accountable to they like messed up one thing that I clearly explicitly said, lay down on your stomach. And so Ed actually, he was observing. I walk over to him and he goes, he kind of hit him with a lot. Like,
thank you. Like, Ed, he said, FYI, Ed said half the class was on the wrong side of the rower.
Yeah, right. It was a nut, right? Like that, even that. Like I made it a big. You got to be on the right side of the rower to move, and right. Like I was too much, dude. So my attempt at group management, which I think is like so important. I furrow my brow into that, right? Because it's going to keep us on time and causes a degradation in the presence and attitude, which causes a degradation in the experience, which then defacilitates me being able to see, teach, correct, or teach, see, correct, whatever. And so I like reset, take a step back, like let's just do the basics, right? Yeah, exactly. And so today was great, ton of fun. It's 10 minutes of burpee box jump overs, right? Like
don't overthink it.
There's a lot you can do in that. Like, and so one thing, let's just do one thing well. Let's just move for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And however that looks for you, whatever you need to do to just move for 10 minutes, let's do it. And now all of a sudden, there's all this space for, 15, 20, 25 individuals to come meet. And now I can meet each of them where it is and allow for just as effective, probably more effective group management, just as effective or probably more effective presence and attitude, teach, see, correcting, like all those things, because it was like, do less. Just right. Like, look at this thing of, hey, look, it's not just this one time I'm going to get to see you and fix you and work with you. I get a year. If I think about it on that time scale, I got 5 years. I got 10 years.
Yeah.
I only need to fix one thing. I don't even need to fix it. I just need to bump you in one thing. And then tomorrow I'll bump you with one thing on and bump you one thing. And if I keep doing that consistently with effective observation, measurement, and repetition across that domain, now all of a sudden, I'm off the hook to have to do everything every single time perfectly, right? Like, you're back to the basic fundamentals of CrossFit. If the magic is in the variance, and if I get coverage across that variance effectively in sound, mechanically sound, effectively done, intense, right? Safe or mechanics, consistency, safe or intensity. If I do that, blah, blah, blah. Like, let the rest of the methodology work. For me, it's that stop managing the group so tightly. Like, just give one or two things that allow for effective teaching, seeing, correcting. Then you've group managed. And now I don't have to it doesn't have to so influence the presence and attitude. So anyway, that's my big long soliloquy of like, and it's great. Like, it's cool. And it doesn't always work, but it was better today.
So how would you, if you were to say, like, take that like it's your group management, but it's your group management in the way that it influences kind of the presence and attitude. So, like, basically, how would you take everything you just said and say, here's the thing I need to work on, and here's how I can, like, observable, measurable, repeatable, right? Like, what does that actually look like for you? Timeline?
Hit the timeline with only focusing on, like, today, I said the priority today is move for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So Ed, actually, I'll use him again because he's putting himself out there as, being an intern and observing. So free game, you're now, right? Like,
you're in it,
but only in positive ways. All right. Unless he's here, I can't critique him unless I've critiqued it, unless we've already talked about this beforehand, blah, 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 blah. That's our rule, right? Otherwise it's just gossip and nobody likes to gossip. Okay. So he asked a great question. He said, what is CAP? What's the stimulus? Like, how many should we be shooting for? How many reps should we be shooting for? And sometimes a question like that, if I feel like I have made it clear, I've been explicit, right? Like, see my face. I'm reflecting the way my insides feel here. Sometimes that happens in the moment. Sorry, folks. It's a glitch, not a feature. I laughed and actually it got a joke. I just kind of like looked at him, shook my head, and I pointed at the board. I said, as many reps as possible in 10 minutes. It's in the name, Ed. It's in the name of it. It's right here. And everybody got the joke, right? Because it is the joke. And I knew exactly what he was asking. He knew he knew I knew he knew what I was asking. Like, I get it.
He knows we know he knows that.
Right. And he goes, no. I mean, like, what's in CAP? And I go, I get it. I get totally what you're asking. Here's the deal with this one. They said 50 to 100, right? Like, the range that they gave doesn't mean shit. Like, it's too broad. So I said to him, they said 30 to 300, right? Like, because like it was so broad and it didn't offer any sort of guidance. You had to dig in further into what they said, which was just keep moving.
Sometimes I feel like they're. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, go.
I say sometimes I feel like they're when they give their stimulus from like a time range or a rep range, they are like, okay, yes, we're programming for the best, but some of you that aren't the best are probably going to be somewhere down here. Whereas, like, I feel like they do that range just from like hey, some people might be way off that depending where they're at. So, but let's keep their confidence up.
Totally,
like,
totally. And it was
yeah,
so 50 seemed like sort of the but I in today's I wanted to get away from that level of like specificity of a number and make it a more kind of esoteric, qualitative, just move for 10 minutes and whatever that looked like. And
like a
lo and
mental grind.
behold, everybody was more than 50. One
Yeah,
person got more than 100. I would say the average was right in that 65 to 75 range.
yeah,
And that was
cool.
perfect.
Yeah,
But Ed's question was legit.
yeah,
I feel my answer did express my feelings around it jokingly, but also with like an honest and authenticity that like I wasn't really I loved his question. I wasn't frustrated by it.
yeah,
But it was a little bit of snarkiness, so it was authentic to my personality of, hey, I'm a snarky person. I'm sarcastic. What are you gonna do?
yeah,
Like, but at the same time, there was space in there because I didn't feel overwhelmed because I focused on one thing and every portion of the workout from timeline management to the movements within them to being able to flex and flow with if it was a 20-person class or a 3-person class. Nothing really needed to change, but there was enough room that if things needed to change within it, there was plenty of time because the only thing I focused on was a singularity of intention that like just move for 10 minutes. So like I focused on one thing and then the time management of the general warm up no longer than 10 minutes. The specific warm up of the burpees no longer than 10 minutes. The workout itself 10 minutes. Then the pull-ups afterwards no more than 10 minutes. So if you look at that, there's 4 like 10-minute blocks. 40 minutes allows for 3 to 4 minute transitions between each of those.
mhm,
We're at 56 minutes of total time. I had 4 minutes to blow off if I wanted to.
yeah,
So there was this and Ed even jokingly, he goes, it's fascinating. He's like, today's class was so much smoother. And he goes, do you think it's just the simple fact that it was a 5-minute less workout? And I go, possibly, right? Like
yeah,
there could have been other stuff, but I told him what made the difference was I had a singularity of focus. And instead of managing the group, like everybody must go here, blah, 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 it was more of just like 10 minutes. I showed, I told, I showed, I did. And then I didn't worry if like people weren't perfect. I was so worried about like
yeah,
rowing perfectly, really dialing into that row. And it took way too much time,
yeah.
overloaded everybody, lost like, I'm confused. Like, what are we doing? Are we learning how to row for like the Stotesbury Regatta here or something? Like, what the, or are we just rowing for calories? Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Oh, he's yelling at me. The little guy's yelling at me again. I don't know what's happening.
It's funny, you got that text right in the middle of your class. The little guy's yelling at me. Yeah.
He's so angry. He's a South Pole elf today. What's happening?
It's funny, like I doing a couple of my evals last week. It's funny because it's like one of my critiques was like having, it was the group management, and that like you can also, there's the other when you get a little too loose where it's I was watching the coach set up, and it was only a handful of athletes, but like one person it was the deadlift wall walk one.
Wall walk, yeah.
And like, so one person's kind of like facing this way, and the other person's kind of facing this way, and the other person's like over here. And then it's like, this is weird. I need you guys to do this. And then I was watching him try to, it was a good, like, you could say 3 to 5 minutes to finally get them set up the way that he wanted to set them up. And it was because like, all right, guys, you got your bars, get set up, and we get going. Whereas like that's the other end where it was a little loose, where it's like I give them a little more freedom, and now I just spent a few more minutes that I didn't want to spend. And so there's definitely that fine line between I need you here and I need you here at this time, like get here, but then have that balance of like also like I'm not going to be that drill sergeant.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I think, okay, perfect example. So 5:15, in my mind, I had the boxes going rig to door direction, right?
Okay.
So I'd have, so let's call that north to south
Okay.
direction. And I'd have 3 rows of 4 to 5 boxes that allows for a 12 to 15 person class. Boxes are a little close together, but each box is 16 feet apart from each other. There's enough room in the gym if you measure it out perfectly.
Yeah.
The end box has 8 feet from box to wall. The other end box has 8 feet from box to end of mats. Excuse me. And there's 16 feet between each of the boxes. It works out perfectly. So I had the cones laid out. I stepped it out. It was perfect. There it is. Invariably, what happened was people did not want to. And so, like I said, so when you bring the boxes out, put them cone to cone, like people were struggling to understand that. Like people didn't want to put like their boxes in line. People wanted like 19 feet between them and the person next to them, like because we've got all kinds of major like emotional issues with box jumps and burpees, I guess. Like there's all kinds of things going on. But invariably, we got them in line. It was good to go. So what ended up happening was, of course, 3 of the tallest human beings are all in row. They're all in line, right? But I'll tell you, it still is going to work because they're not 8 feet long.
Yeah.
So as long as they stay within 8 feet of their box, they should be fine.
It'll be okay.
But what ends up happening, and so this is the part, this is my failure of being explicit, was I should have gotten everyone a piece of chalk and said, lay down, put your feet up against the box, lay down, extend your hands out as far as you can, draw a chalk line. As long as your chalk line is not inside the person next to you, you should never touch feet. Because now what we did was and I could say, just for a safety, let's make sure we're safely separating out. Take an extra 2 or 3 minutes. But what I've really done is now all of a sudden, and then you could do like a second drawing of the chalk line. But there's a moral of this story. Like this is all fixable to like not have to do any of this. But what it could have facilitated was something else I wanted people to focus on, which was stay close to your box, right? Invariably in burpee box jump overs, people step off the box, jump off the box, whatever, walk 3 feet away from their box, do a burpee, walk 3 feet up to the box. And it's like, what are you doing? Why are you stepping away from the box just so you can step back up to the box? If I made them draw those chalk lines, now all of a sudden, if they have a physical block, it's almost like a tactile cue. If they have a physical block to stay within, something on the illusion of we're safely setting up the floor so you can feel comfortable that you're going to have your own space. What you're really doing is sneakily making them be more efficient without having to like hit them over the head with be more efficient.
Yeah.
The other option, which is what I did for 615, is just reorient the box and put 12 across the floor. And then they have got all the room they want. All the room they want on the other side. And then in the middle of the workout, there were a couple that I was able to be like, hey, you're really getting far away from the box. Why not just stay here? Right. And I drew a chalk line and like made them stand. Right. So it's like 2 ways to get to the same end. The one, you're like, like aggressively like forcing them into position. The other one, you just kind of like give a little bit broader boundaries and kind of see where people matriculate into that and then hit them where they were. 615 worked a little bit better. Lesson learned, but first pancake, right? You gotta see it. The other way could have worked, right? It was fine, but it was just, So my first beta, my 1.0 version of 515 layout, not as good as the 2.0 version in the 615 layout.
That's it's funny, like you like I like that. I think it's funny, like just in this like combo, so basically 5 of the things of my like list of things you kind of hit in what felt like kind of one thing. And so sorry, FYI, Matt and Colin are joining us during AP Stat.
They joined on Instagram though, right? There you go. You've hit a whole new demographic, my friend. Well done.
Yeah, Colin said me and Josh tuning in during AP Stat. I said this is more valuable for life anyways. So
yeah. Oof. I don't know though. Well, I mean, we could talk about statistically speaking, if you if 20% of your class, you have 10 people in the class.
The connections get really bad actually now. The connections get really bad. That's weird. As you start,
right, but
that's what it is.
If 20% of the view, you're jokingly saying yeah. I've lost you. It's just like we didn't come here to do fucking statistics. I should probably clean it up, right? Next thing you know, we're gonna get like blocked on Instagram.
yeah, so 5 things. So a couple of things that you kind of said in this, and then it hit on all 5 of mine without being like direct. So you just kind of talked about setup and logistics. How like part of that's for safety purposes. You don't problem. Like so, running a safe class obviously is super important, I think. And so with that, but then you also with that, like that was part of your plan for like their efficiency, and it was a way of like getting that across. And so that falls right into your plan. But then you change it up for 615, which also one of my things is being flexible and being able to pivot on the fly. Like you have to be able to, whether it's your class setup or a cue that doesn't work, what's the next one you have to be able to move? Or someone walks in a few minutes late and they have an injury that you weren't like, shoot, I need to like change this person real quick. So like safety and logistics also turned into being flexible on the fly. And then with that, like having your plan, have a plan, not just a timeline, but like, well, I guess have that timeline, but having that timeline set and having that plan allows you to also like make these adjustments where I need to. Like I might be able to pull from here or there. At the same point too, that time to have that conversation with Ed, where like you have this timeline, you have this plan. In that plan, you should be able to also make room for those quick like that connection or that coaching piece or that like mental piece. And then focus. Like one of the things I put is have a focus and then be able to narrow in on that focus. Yeah. So like the focus is rowing, but then like how can I dial that in even more so that I'm not smashing them with like 100 different things. Yeah. And so like basically everything you just said, 5 of my 10 were all cool. Right within there. Yeah.
That's always why, right? Our Venn diagram often the heart of them would often intersect, and we'd have right our stuff that we share here, and then it's the stuff over here that instead of it being like, he drives me nuts because whatever, it's like, no. That's what allows the Venn diagram to move and cover people, right? So that's that's also having a variety of styles of coaches. As long as you like now you being the right, it's your community, it's your focus, but like it's influenced by the rest of us kind of like, but in the end, as long as I can find myself getting coverage on the things that are most important to you in the direction you want it to go, whatever the direction the ship wants to go, I'm on board with that, right? Yeah. To me, I find as a human being, we were just talking about this, John and I were talking about this the other night. I know for myself that I need to feel like what I'm doing individually nests within a larger sort of group, organization, public sort of like, other human beings sort of, but like larger thing. Like I really enjoyed being in the Navy because like, yes, I'd be my own action, but my own action was part of like a squad. And then that squad was part of a platoon. And then that platoon was part of a company. And then that company was part of a unit or command. And then that command was part of a battalion, blah, 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 right? Like, and then it's America, right? So it's sort of
America.
Right. And that as idealistic and like sort of like what a chump, right? From a like, God, you're a big like automaton sheep, like sure, but there's power in that as long as then it's not just like blind allegiance. Like there was, and because otherwise then that's as empty as if you're not then introspectively examining how the particular individual nests within that. So for me, like I really enjoy serving the needs of Fairwinds. You identify what those needs are with your weekly updates, with whatever, like in the coach, the monthly stuff, and just like like the year, like where the year's going. Because then I can individually do my thing that fits those things that you've identified. And then as you said, like, which very complimentary, like me doing that influences you to do other things. And I know like the way TJ approaches stuff, like I really enjoy, and the way Mary kind of comes at things, like I really enjoy seeing, I don't always agree, and I'm kind of like, I wouldn't have done it that way, but I like seeing the variance because then it informs in me like they hit the same target. That's kind of a cool. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying.
I think it was funny. I think it was when I was doing TJ's evaluation. He did something, and I was like, I wouldn't have done it that way, but I'm probably going to do it that way from now on. Like,
Yeah.
when he did it, I was like, oh, it was, so I'm totally with you. Like, I like this is what I want. Let's see if we can fall within this, but I'm also like, let's see what other people bring to the table and what gets brought to the table. So this is
it's why, like, the question I asked you about, like, what's your intention of that front room? Like, where, right? Like, and you explicitly say, like, I'm open. Send me devil's advocate. Like, tell me what I'm missing. So, like, you open the door, and I know I'm doing this long enough. Like, I know you, right? Like, I know you're not going to take offense, but like, I then feel comfortable. Like, the questions I ask are not like catch me, F me type of questions. Like, I'm trying to trick you. They truly are like, I'm curious, like, what in your grand scheme of like, what do you see that thing being? And then you offer it, and then I can say, like, okay, I see that. My concerns would be that.
Because
right?
sometimes
Like,
too, it's like, I'm curious. I ask you too because I'm like, I'm curious as if his concerns are the same as my concerns, or am I creating this
oh,
thing
that's
in
a
my
good,
head?
yeah,
Right?
I like that system too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
we said, like that fear of like people, that stuff being there is something going to get stolen, and you're like, has that happened? Should that be something we can be concerned about, or am I just creating this thing in my head? And it's so it worked out as both. Like, there was something that I haven't thought about, and it was like, yes, that I've definitely thought about, and I want to make sure it's not something that I'm just kind of like, I'm making up this thing in my head. But it's also something I've been thinking about a lot. And I was like, I'm never going to actually, like, I'm not going to be able to clearly tell you what I want via a text without, like, there's some nuance to this and that. So,
hey, we've hit your heart out, by the way.
Yeah, we hit our heart out. So, man, this is fun. Cool. Thank you. This is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do our gratuities.
I think my gratitude is Nicole this week. Just it was a great break. In the sense that, right, like, we were all around each other and stuff. The whole family got sick at some point. I skirted it. I had a little bit of like sniffles and stuffiness for like a day or 24 hours, but I just like crushed myself with Sudafed and Advil or ibuprofen, and just like, I was like, I am plowing through this. Woke up the next day, I was totally fine. So it was cool. But like,
it wasn't the heavy cream.
It was that I don't think was the heavy cream, but I'm pretty sure that 17 million cookies didn't help. And cheese dips and things, but she felt like crap the entire break. Like, and she got 2 hits. Like, she got at the beginning, a little bit of a reprieve, and then got at the tail. So it was basically like she was healthy enough to be at her family's for Christmas, and then like healthy enough to have like New Year's. But otherwise, like, the in-between phases, just absolutely
done
the whole time. And so, but I will say, like, but just plowed through and executed on the holidays, decorated, took stuff down, like, got the presents done, like, but without this feeling of like, it's the holidays, we're gonna do it. Like, I was watching her and actually like enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So that she was able to go back to work yesterday, back to this classroom, and not happily. Like, it's run its course. Like,
no one is on January 2nd. No one is happily coming back to work on January 2nd.
At the same time, without like a woe is me, and it's like she's in a routine of like, does a cold plunge or the sauna, rides, has a new goal for the year. She's gonna do 2,024 miles on the bike across the week, across 52 weeks, not in 1 week. Yeah, no, across like the year. So she's got like a plan for that, but it's a loose plan. And then she's got like a lifting plan for that. And it's like, so I feel like what you're supposed to do if you want to live a healthy lifestyle, which is like have an objective and have like some sort of strategy that like certain tactics will help you move. That's Peter Attia's framework in his new book, The Outlive, which I'm about 3/4 of the way, or a quarter of the way in, a third of the way in, and I'm really enjoying it. But had that and laid it out and is moving forward with it with a sense of like, not like victimhood of like, I gotta get this done, but like leaning into it, like, this is my plan and this is what I'm going to do, because she wants to be healthy and vibrant and active. And I just am like, hell yeah. Like, it makes me happy to see somebody do that without feeling like I need some sort of new kitschy, like fix it. Nope. Just back to it's super simple, folks.
Yeah.
Be consistent, move a little bit each day, put yourself in uncomfortable positions or do something that stresses you and challenges you each day, and then be grateful and hang out with the people that you like hanging out with. And that's it. Like it's that simple, but it doesn't mean it's always easy, because you gotta own it and you gotta lean into it. Take ownership of it.
Simple isn't easy.
Yeah, and I love her for it. Like, so I'm just super grateful to be like, I'm crushing it. So she's crushing it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Nicole.
Seriously, like, yeah.
Mine is I'll tell you, mine is that intern Ed Murphy.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have him on board, and I can tell. Like, I remember talking to him at first. I was like, I think you're like, you and I have very different coaching styles, and I said, Ed is like, you'll create your own, but I feel like you'll probably click more with like Jack's coaching style, because he's a numbers guy and a stats guy, and he's like the way. But I love that he's shadowing both our classes, and he shadowed my class last Friday. And one of the first things he said to me, he was like, I noticed you didn't start like actually like correcting people during the general warm up. And I was like, yeah, I should, like I was moving people through stuff, and there's probably places I could have actually started doing that. But you're right. Like, coaching starts when that whiteboard brief is over, you start coaching. And, I said, so yeah, like, and he said, he said, I think he mentioned that to you too. Like,
he asked about why I didn't correct somebody rowing a certain way.
It was just, my initial reaction is like, intern, seen and not heard.
right.
But
at the same time, like, fuck, good question, dude.
Yeah, man, good. Like,
not lazy. I'm a little lazy right here.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Me too. And he's good at
that. I'm going to call it enthusiasm that he's bringing to right now, just shadowing. And so that
it's the innocent. It's the power of an innocent eye. He's not broken in the sense of like, I don't give a shit. So sorry, I totally interrupted your gratitude. Yes.
No, it was Ed. So it was Ed. It's Ed the intern.
Ed the
intern. So I'm stoked. So anyway, awesome.
And Ed turn.
As long as one day it'll be past tense, interned, because then he'll be a coach.
Ed.
I don't know. I'm hurting my brain. All right. Make like a tissue and boogie. I will. Right. Hey, real quick. What did the frogs say on January 1st?
What?
Happy New Year.
I wish I was smarter.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here before we get